Hey everybody, it's Miles Cranston from Feel Alive Coaching, coming to you today with the first of many Friday what would we call them? Friday health tips, Friday let's talk health. And I have envisioned to have this on a chat, but often with chats you'll get sort of interrupted or be delayed by people sort of waiting to ask a question. You often watch those live feeds where the host is sitting there and they're talking about something really interesting, and all of a sudden they're like this. And there's this big pause, and you're waiting. What's he looking at? What's he going to say? So I thought, look, I'll just record some stuff. I'd kick things off, and please comment and put anything in the comments there about what sort of stuff you would like to talk about, and I'll be sure to bring it up in future sort of talks. But I just want to kick things off a bit today. There's been a lot of talk recently, and I wanted to address this. One of the biggest things that I heard recently was a study, an obesity study, and it was done in America. And I mean, let's be honest, the Americans, they do everything big and they do everything to the extremes, and obesity in that country is huge, is out of control, and a lot of it comes down to choices and what they're doing and the amount of food that they're eating and stuff like that. But one thing interesting which struck me is this person came out, and it was like a government official, like I guess the equivalent of one of our public servants. And they'd done all these studies, and they came out and said, America will be over 50% obese by, I think they said 2050. It might have been 2030. I would imagine it'd be more like 70% by 2050, but whatever it was, you can research and Google that for yourself. But here's the big thing, and here's the thing that struck me. I was sitting there listening to this, and I heard the woman talk away, and I thought, yep, I agree, yep, that's true. But then out of the blue, she comes out and says, but that's okay. That's not your fault. She said, the individual is not to blame. Other agencies like the government and various other organisations, the food manufacturers and stuff like that, are to blame, but not the individual, which I found absolutely astounding. The government has got a lot to answer for as far as, GST and taxes on healthy food and stuff like that. And, it's crazy when you go into a supermarket and you can see a bottle of plain water more expensive than a bottle of sugary soft drink. You can buy a bottle of cola now for 90 cents or something ridiculous like that. The cost of broccoli and other amazing vegetables are more expensive than a bag of chips, which this is ridiculous. And certainly, yes, governments should make an effort to change this. And maybe they do. Maybe they remove the GST off fresh food. Maybe they sort of add some other incentives. I don't know. But you know what? I contract to a gym close to where I live, and every time I leave that gym around about lunchtime, or if I leave there at dinner time, I see a queue going out off the street into KFC. And so I'm sitting there thinking to myself, watching this queue of people, and I'm thinking, are these people being forced by the government to go there? Are they being forced by some legislation that you must go to KFC and you must eat KFC? They're definitely not. No, they've made that choice to go into that KFC restaurant and buy whatever they're buying. So we do have choices. Yes, the government could do some stuff, but to come out and say to people, oh, it's not your fault. I mean, this seems to be the way of the world today, is for nobody accept personal responsibility, to do what you like, to eat what you like, and that's okay. It's not your fault. It's not your fault if you become overweight, obese, and end up sick and independent on the health system. To be fair, I'll put my little tinfoil hat on here for a second. There's probably a lot of organisations that have got, and companies that have got links to government departments, that have got connections within the government, manufacturers of drugs and so forth. So I suppose in some way, they would benefit from the government doing nothing, because the more people, it's almost like they're saying, eat what you like, that's okay, because we've got a pill that can fix you, and that will cost X. So who knows? But look, I digress here. The bottom line is, and I want you to know this, we all have personal choices. We all can decide what we do with every single day that we wake up. That includes whether we decide to exercise, that includes what we decide to eat, what we decide to do, everything. You know, there's no, you can't sit there and go, I'm overweight and sick and unhealthy and in pain every day but it's not my fault, it's the government's fault. No, that's wrong. You can make a choice right now to do something about it. You don't have to sign up with with some course or whatever. You can just make a change simply by choosing to eat less and eat more healthy. And it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. You know, I can go to the supermarket and buy bulk amounts of things like chicken breast, and I can season them a little bit, chop them up, put them in the frying pan, add some rice, some vegetables, and then I can put those in the fridge, or I can even freeze it if I want. And I've got a meal or lunch for the whole week, basically. And when you look at it, it doesn't cost a heck of a lot. You know, I don't know what KFC costs. I haven't been there in 30 years, so I've got no idea. But from what I understand, you can't really get much for a meal under $10 or $15, you know, from what I've been told. But you can go to the supermarket, you can buy a packet of chicken breasts for, say, $10. And in that packet, you'll get 10 chicken breasts. Each one of those chicken breasts is going to be about 200 grams. You can slice one of those in half, or just that way, not that way, that way, and you'll get 6 chicken breasts that are roughly about 100 to 120 grams each one. Now, those will then be the basis of a meal. You can add some rice. Rice is dirt cheap. I mean, you can buy big bags of rice, cook it up, and it works out at about 30 cents a serve, probably even less. I don't know. You know, the price of rice is pretty cheap. Now, I know what you're going to say. Vegetables are expensive, Miles. I can't afford them. Well, I'll tell you what, you're right, they are expensive. 2 options you could do. One is you could grow your own. That's going to save you a lot of money. But the other thing you can do is you can go and buy frozen vegetables. They're usually a lot cheaper. They're pretty fresh. There's nothing wrong with them. I mean, I went myself the other day and bought a big packet of, broccoli and cauliflower frozen. And chucked them in the freezer. And you know what? Hey, pull them out, put them in the chicken and rice. There is a healthy meal for probably, I'm going to say, under $5. Probably even under $4. I don't know. Do the math. You work it yourself. It's going to be a lot cheaper than the $15 or $20 it's cost you to go to KFC. Even McDonald's. And I have been to McDonald's. I'll tell you a lie. I do have the occasional sort of what I call a cheat day. And I did. I brought a Big Mac and a fries and a drink. And it cost me $15. So there you go. You can get it, but it's way more expensive. And it's not going to be good for you. Not to mention that a lot of those foods have got all the other things added to them. They're fatty, they've got a high fat content, very high salt content. I just read a story today on the news app that I have all about sodium and the amount of sodium that gets put into food and processed food. I can only imagine the amount of sodium in a McDonald's hamburger or a KFC big bucket, whatever you buy. So, yeah, look, yes, there is an obesity epidemic. Yes, the government could do a lot more. However, thankfully, we live in a country and a world where we can choose to do what we want. We don't have to eat that way. We can get out every day and go for a walk. 20 minutes, a 20-minute brisk walk is all we need to do. Eat healthy, eat well, and then sort of do a sort of strength and weight training program, which is super important. That's going to make everything so much better and give you a much better confidence. So I really recommend sort of doing that. At Feed Alive Coaching, we have many amazing packages, and I would love to help you and get you on track and get you a fitness program that's going to really, really work for you. But today I just wanted to briefly touch on all this obesity stuff. And, you know, I'm going to do a few of these videos sort of every week or so. But I just want to touch base on that and just remind you that you can make the choices yourself. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to rely on the government to tell you that you're overweight or obese. You can change that in an instant, just like that. bit of hard work, a bit of planning, and you can feel amazed and energized as well. Hey, look, thanks for listening. Please do me a massive favor and like and subscribe to my channel. We're trying to grow this, and I want to grow this, to a weekly thing where we can sit and talk. And I'm planning to have people come in and sort of do like interviews and have guests come in and talk about various sort of things. But look, like and subscribe to the channel. Drop in the comments anything you'd like to hear, any other topic you want to talk about. I'm going to cover everything. I'm going to talk about everything from what we talked about today, obesity, to macros, to working out, to weight training versus cardio versus you name it. There's going to be lots of awesome things coming up. And I really thank you for listening, and I really thank you for your support of this channel and my company, Feel Alive Coaching. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay moving, and find your reason to feel alive.